So how many of you were freaking out after the first two drives? Christian McCaffrey didn't have a touch, right? This is the first run of the game, and it was a negative for Deebo Samuel. So right now, I want to focus on just Christian McCaffrey in this video, and obviously he's a receiver, so we're going to talk about the throws that he had as well, but I want to focus on the running game and how Christian McCaffrey was involved, and honestly, just the brilliance of Shanahan. So let's get to it, because the first two possessions, it's like, oh man, they're not really going to do this again. And then once Shanahan found exactly what he was looking for, good night, Philadelphia. So I remember in training camp, I was seeing Christian McCaffrey run routes at the second and third level, and I was tweeting about it. And the 49ers PR, they made me delete these tweets because, it's schematic and you can't give away the advantages. So Kyle Shanahan, he's been hiding this, saving this for a little bit. And we've seen Christian McCaffrey run these option routes all season, but in this game against the Eagles, we saw them go to a different level. So right here is usually when he cuts inside. This time, McCaffrey, who's in the slot right here, notice by leaving Deebo in the flat, it's in man coverage. So it's just one-on-one with a backup linebacker. So it doesn't work out in this play, but as you know, over the course of the game, if you get this matchup with Christian McCaffrey and somebody wearing number 41, it's going to work out for you. So again, didn't this time, and that's just because we go to the end zone angle. You can see like Brock has some guys in his face. He's still not settled in. You got to imagine like the adrenaline, the jitters, like those type of rush, that matters. So didn't work here, but we will see later on in the game that it did. All right, so it's the third possession. As you can see, 6-0. This is where some fans are screaming at Kyle Shanahan, we're never going to win anything with Kyle calling plays, blah, blah, blah. So this motion right here, and this is another play that technically doesn't work. It's not an explosive. It's not a big gain. The reason that the 49ers run so much motion is they're trying to get the Eagles to show their hand. They're trying to get Philly to tip who is going to come down. And what it ends up being is once this safety comes down in the run fit, they're going to run away from him. So again, it doesn't work on this play, but this is the feeling out process, right? All this pre-snap motion, all this movement, you want to see what they're going to do. So once you realize what they are going to do, that's when you can call all your running plays. I want to show this play just because this is like one of the last plays where the 49ers, they finally got it, right? Like Kyle, whatever happened, the light bulb came on and he was like, all right, we got it. We're good. All right. So notice the movement, the pre-snap movement. So there's Kyle Shanahan going from basically a slot receiver to the backfield. There's George Kittle going from one side of the formation to the other. And as soon as the safety walks down, right, as soon as the Philadelphia Eagles show their hand, watch Brock instantly checks, everybody else checks. So they know, hey, I'm pointing. We all got the audible. We all got the signal, the change of play. That's just sounding the alarms. Wee, wee, wee. And once he checks, once the safety walks down, that's when you get finally the run to come through. So the beauty about football is like you don't have to score every possession. It's a filling out process. Like I said, you get 10, 13, anywhere in between those number of possessions. Obviously, you want to score on every possession, but in a game like this, you want to make sure that I have exactly what I'm looking for. And once I do, that's when you can kind of start to attack it. So once the safety declares, right, shows his hand, it makes the blocking a lot easier. And now Ronnie Bell is able to come in and crack him. Trent Williams climbs to the second level and seals the play. Side linebacker Kyle Shanahan kicks out the defensive end after George Kittle makes sure he seals him, and that way Kittle can climb to the cornerback. So seal, lead blocker, and then that's when 23 can work his magic. So one of the biggest misnomers about the 49ers running game, and Kyle Shanahan, I suppose, is that he's just primarily a zone running type of guy. And that just couldn't be further from the truth. So here, the Eagles are in an odd front, and when you're in an odd front, you can do a couple of different things. But with these wide edge rushers, they are trying to take away the 49ers stretch zone run, right? They're wide zone run. So what do the 49ers do? They counter that by running gap scheme. So here is just power, down, kick. Not a big gain, but I think it's important to point out that the 49ers, they can go gap scheme. Christian McCaffrey, he has 126 carries this season that are the zone runs that I just highlighted, but he also has 76 that are gap runs, the ones that we just showed. And in this game, he had 6 carries that were gap and 11 that were zone. So here's another look. This is 2 plays later. They can just line up and run the ball right down your throat. And that is probably another thing that Kyle Shanahan loves about this team, where, they want to open up and throw, but they can also do this. So it's effectively the same play. Odd front again, you got the wide edge rushers. Watch how the blocking plays off. And then power is just where everybody's blocking down to the gap next to them. And you're going to have, in this instance, Kyle Juszczyk come in motion right there. He's going to kick out the defensive end. And then you have the pulling guard. No pull. So this is just Kyle Juszczyk kicking out. Christian McCaffrey doesn't have to do anything but run straight. So again, not flashy, nothing like that, but the versatility of this running game, and that kept the Eagles off balance because obviously based on their alignment right now, they are protecting the edges. So what is the counter to that? Run right down their throat. And obviously, we're going to talk about Brock Purdy. We're going to talk about Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle. But when you're able to run the ball in the manner that the 49ers were able to, it gets your offensive linemen engaged. And I think if they block the way that they did against Philadelphia the rest of the season, it is going to be very difficult to beat this team. So watch number 71 after the ball crosses the end zone. He was locked in. He was very engaged. And he's just talking his shit. This pre-snap motion really just messed with the Eagles. So here's George Kittle. He's going to go to the other side of formation before the snap. And again, this is just to get the Eagles to show their hand. So as he goes in motion, this safety walks back. This safety comes down. And now since this safety is going to come down, I can run the ball at not only a DB in the run fit. So you got George Kittle against this guy, or probably Juice or one of the linemen, and then a backup linebacker. And I believe this is a backup linebacker too. So all that was just to get the Eagles to show their hand. And once you get them to show their hand, you have the numbers advantage. And when you have the numbers advantage with number 23, the carries are going to look like this. So I think it's so important for them to be able to establish this running game. And obviously, that goes without saying. But I think it's even more important to know that what they were trying to accomplish early in the game, it took some time. These little search motions, right, to get the Eagles to come down, show their hand. And you see the blocking. Look at this right now. Good luck. Yeah, the blocking was really some of the best that I've seen from the 49ers this season. There are going to be plays over the course of a game where the blocking doesn't always work out. You got a guy in the backfield right here, has Christian McCaffrey dead to rights, right? But even right here, he overran a little bit, but you have another guy in case McCaffrey cuts back. Should be good, right? This should be, negative game, but if anything, 5 at the most. Instead, you have a running back who makes 1, 2, 3. That is really tough. That's backbreaking as a defense. And then if we watch the backside, watch Trent Williams. This is like a Hamilton tech is what it's called. So he's going to throw the defensive lineman by. Obviously it's not, nobody knows much about offensive line, but I'm sure he gets graded highly for plays like that. But this is all McCaffrey here. Even when it's not blocked up well, he finds ways to get yards and basically to maximize the yardage out of every play. And that's what makes him such a special player. If you're a football nerd, you are going to love this. So just because it doesn't work doesn't mean the 49ers won't come back to it either down the line, hell, maybe later this game, but this is just a trap play. So they are not going to block this defensive tackle and George Kittle. And when I say that, the two linemen who are lined up right in front of him. Instead, George Kittle's going to come down and kick him out. And actually the same happens for both defensive tackles. So watch the play itself out. So the idea behind a trap play, the trap concept is you're going to let the interior defensive lineman rush up the field, trap them, thinking that, hey, I'm unblocked, I'm going to make a tackle, only for Kittle to come across and wham him like that. Unfortunately, Fletcher Cox, he's a veteran. He gets upfield a little too far, and it doesn't work. But the idea and the reason that I'm showing this is because we've seen the gap schemes where, they're running power, they're pulling linemen. We've seen the zone plays where Christian McCaffrey has explosive plays. Now there's a counter to that too in trap. So the 49ers running game, it's at another level. It doesn't work on this play, but the fact that they have different changeups and different pitches that they can throw at you is pretty impressive. And then they can come back at you with inside zone. So here's Elijah Mitchell. Again, going to run split zone. he's going to come across and kick the D end out. And then, again, it's just right at you. Odd man front, you get doubles, and watch Brandon Ayuk come in the picture. So because of the odd man front, because of the spacing right here, it allows, and the motion basically makes the block for Ayuk. The motion is going to kick him down. He doesn't know where to go. Basically, he blocks himself. This is why the pre-snap motion just puts defenses in such a bind. Like, these guys don't know where to go. He's thinking, all right, I have him one-on-one. Instead, Ayuk comes, and that's how you get another big gain from Eli Mitchell. So that's all for the running game. I know it's not flashy. It's not fancy. People devalue running backs, but I think you can see why the 49ers are able to gain as many yards as they are. And again, I think the blocking was superb and probably the best that I've seen from this group up front in a long time. But now let's talk about the passing offense.